Alright. So now we got, is Cooper Flagg really worth the hype? What y'all think? Y'all think he worth the hype? But who would y'all take one-on-one though? Me or Cooper Flagg? Who y'all think will win? I think it'll be close. I'll give it to him though because he's a little bit taller than me, but I think it'll be close, to be honest with you. But y'all realize the Mavs get the first pick after trading away Luka? Bro, the NBA is so scripted. They don't even try to hide it. Bro. But Kyrie, Cooper Flagg, AD, that's going to be valid. I ain't going to lie. Let's get straight to the video. And this was, hold on, 17 on trending? Yeah, Jimmy. Let me like it. Yeah.
Beginnings of an all-time great talent. Not just elite or exceptional talent, but the kind of player you could say appears once in a generation. Usually the signs are there.
LeBron
National
nice.
acclaim at an early age, the masses becoming familiar with your name long before you even national acclaim at an early age, the masses becoming familiar with your name long before you even step foot on an NBA court. Throw in a few viral performances, jaw-dropping physical gifts, a Sports Illustrated cover, and you've got yourself a recipe for what can easily be assumed as the next great NBA
superstar. The beat drop, I'm gonna spit a freestyle for y'all.
The only problem is we are terrible at predicting truly generational
Nah, that's
talent.
facts.
For every player that gets slapped with the label of being generational and lives up to it, there's about 10 more who don't even come close.
Facts.
But what do you call a player who was given the
Bro,
description
Zook.
of
I mean, I said
generational
Zook.
at 16
Duke,
years
Zion.
old, toe-to-toe with LeBron as a high schooler and was projected to go first overall in the NBA draft 3 years before he was even eligible for the draft? Cooper
That's
Flagg
motion.
has faced some of the highest expectations.
That's motion.
of
I'm keeping it
any
up.
NBA
That's
prospect,
motion.
and up to this point has exceeded all of them. But even after becoming one of the
Hey, give me that.
his first overall picks in recent history, some fans justifiably still
Offer
have their
21.
doubts. Opinions ranging
Shooting
from he could be
dates.
the greatest player of an entire era, all the way to he's one of the most overrated prospects we've seen recently. After missing on numerous alleged generational prospects in recent years, it's clear why some fans
The
are
thing about
hesitant
Zion
to
is really the
speculate
injuries for
to
Zion.
anyone. And yet
He be
some
eating too
remain
much
certain
gumbo.
that
He in New
Cooper
Orleans. If he got
is
drafted to New
generational.
York or something,
Which begs
he
the
would have been
question,
straight. He would have been
what
valid.
makes Cooper Flagg the transcendent talent some say he is? And is he really worth the hype? Or are some fans setting him up for the same exact fate other
Yes, he's worth
generational
the hype.
talents have suffered? To answer this question, we have to go back long before anyone even knew the name Cooper Flagg.
I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary
Oh,
of
she got
Homeland
nice eyes.
Security. Thank you,
me
President
relax.
Donald J. Trump, for securing our border and putting America first.
No.
Now, President Trump has
Today's
Well, I ain't
video
mean to do that,
is
my
sponsored by
fault.
SeatGeek. If you're looking for concert tickets or the best seats at the game,
I ain't gonna lie,
SeatGeek
get
has
your
it all.
bag,
the
but-
#1 rated ticketing app with over 28 million downloads.
4 years ago.
In December of 2021, a news publication out of Maine wrote a piece about a basketball prodigy who was starting to gain attention not just around the state, but around the country, describing him as a talent they
Are you
had
giving
never
me a whole
seen.
backstory?
A 6'7", supremely gifted 14-year-old.
He was 6'7" at 14? Damn.
Immediately, they were onto something special and early, because this would be one of the first mentions of the name Cooper Flagg, a freshman who had yet to play a single game of high school ball, who many agreed they had never seen the likes of. Over the next 2 years, Cooper quickly became a national headliner, transferring to Montverde Academy and rising up the high school rankings. By the end of his sophomore season, it became clear that Cooper was, in fact, a talent unlike anything else in the country. The secret was out. Cooper Flagg may just be next up. A conversation that led to this. The first mention of Cooper Flagg not just as a great prospect, but as a generational
Y'all do
prospect.
throw around
This came out
generational too
following a
much,
successful
though.
summer season.
There's no way it's throwing
Built up
generational
national
every
rankings
year.
from
That
a
doesn't even make
five-star
sense.
prospect to the consensus #1 player in the country
Okay.
in his class. Like many others before him, the towering propositions about his game and what he might become began to ramp up. But being called generational isn't necessarily out of the norm for prospects of
Yeah,
this
it's
caliber.
not.
However, what is out of the norm
Nigga said
is the
A
fact
was
that this
generational.
article was published on August 3rd, 2023, when Cooper was just 16 years old.
Damn.
At the time, 3 years away from being draft eligible. His incredible physical tools and NBA readiness already putting him in conversations with prospects like LeBron, AD, Zion, and Wemby before he even started his junior season in high school. But turns out that junior season would never come. Because just a week after getting compared to the best prospects of the 21st century, Cooper broke headlines when he decided to jump up a year and reclassify from the class of 2025 to the class of 2024. The result of Flagg jumping up a class and bypassing an entire season of basketball, he not only instantly became the #1 player in the country against players 1 to 2 years older than him, overnight, he became the favorite to be selected first overall in the 2025 NBA draft. As a 16-year-old who had just finished his sophomore year of high school.
That's motion.
The rankings were, of course, correct. Cooper was still so far ahead of his competition that he was a shoo-in for the high school national player of the year.
That boy nice though, I ain't gonna lie.
Into that season. Projections this bullish and this early are
Come
so
on.
rare that we've only seen them a handful of times. Back in 2001, when NBA scouts were already saying a 16-year-old LeBron was a surefire #1 pick.
That's
and
LeGoat,
more
though.
recently, with Victor
So,
Wembanyama,
that makes
who was
sense.
projected to be the first
That's
overall
LeGoat.
pick 2 years before he was eligible for the draft. Outside of these two truly once-in-a-generation talents, even the most sought-after prospects do not face these expectations this early in their basketball career. But it was in the following season where Cooper would face his biggest test yet. Prove that he was good enough to still dominate games at the college level. But before he even stepped foot on a college court, Cooper did what no high schooler had ever done before him. How do we know if Cooper Flagg will be able to play at the next level and compete against the best players in the world? Well, because he already played them. Last summer, at just 17 years old, Flagg was chosen to be a part of the USA men's select team, a team that would scrimmage LeBron, Steph, KD, and the rest of the Olympic team. A team that hadn't featured a non-NBA player in over a decade.
That's
and
emotion.
had never featured a high school kid. Now, the best one could hope for this kid going toe-to-toe against the NBA's best is for him to just fit in, soak in the moment, make the right plays, and just not be a liability. Cooper didn't just fit in. He actually stood out. In a straw poll survey conducted by The Athletic following the training camp, players on the Olympic team were asked who they thought the best player on the men's select team was. The player who was chosen by unanimous decision was Cooper. A team loaded.
That's
with some of the
motion.
brightest young NBA
That's motion
talents,
for sure.
and it was the 17-year-old kid that played better than all of them. By the end of the summer, Cooper had already checked off every generational box. He received national acclaim. He was way ahead of schedule in his frame and development to the point where it just wasn't even fair. He went from dominating his class to dominating the country to playing and holding his own against the best players in the world. And of course, he had earned the generational label. The next challenge in front of him was college, which at that point wasn't really a challenge at all. As the second youngest player in the entire country, Cooper immediately became the best player in college basketball,
hot as a
putting
mug.
up 19, 7, and 4 a game as statistically the best offensive player in the country and a top 5 defensive player in the country. His measurables, defensive instincts, and polished offensive game drawing comparisons to Jason Tatum, Scottie Pippen, and Kawhi Leonard. The kid played half of the season as a 17-year-old and won National Player of the Year. But to put into perspective just how incredible Cooper's freshman season at Duke was, here are the top 250 players in college basketball last season represented by age on the x-axis and box plus minus on the y-axis. This chart represents the top 10% of all college basketball players this past season, and it tells the story of what NBA teams are looking for when assessing talent and who stands out amongst their peers. Up here are some of the best players in the country last season.
Our wholesale partners rely on us for great coffee, and we rely on UPS to get it there.
This ball represents a cashback card that charges annual fees.
Get out of here, annual fees.
Like a 5'4".
The vast majority of them are the older end of college sports.
That stuff I ain't gonna lie to.
23, even 24-year-olds. But the NBA isn't necessarily looking for the best prospects. They're looking for prospects with the most upside. Young guys who have the highest ceiling. And this becomes clear if we highlight all 30 players selected in the first round of the 2025 NBA draft. All of these players had great seasons, but what really sets them apart from the other 2,400 collegiate players trying to get drafted is their youth. Look at the top picks in this year's draft, and all of them are much younger than their non-drafted counterparts. You could call this the draft zone, a recipe of being elite and extremely young, and landing here will greatly increase your odds of making it to the league. It's not just about being good, it's about being good early and having the potential to get a whole lot better. But if the best prospects in the country are here, where's Cooper Flagg?
He all the way over there.
You guys are not gonna believe this.
He all the way over there.
All by himself.
Damn.
A kid that was supposed to still be in high school as by far the best player in the country with the most upside. It is not a stretch to say.
Hey, add 2 G's.
Generational talent.
Why is only 1 G?
But
Don't
here's
do
the
that.
catch. Despite all of the incredible things he's done over the last few years,
I mean that.
his absurd NBA readiness at a young age and just how much upside he possesses, Cooper is not the exception. When LeBron came into the league, we had never seen a prospect quite like him up to that point. When Victor Wembanyama was drafted, we definitely had never seen a player like him before. In fact, I didn't even know a player like him was in the realm of possibility.
No cap.
But we have seen players, even recently, like Cooper Flagg, that were just as talented, just about as young, with games just as NBA ready as Flagg's is. And even when we think we know the recipe for a surefire megastar, history has shown us that oftentimes we don't know the difference between great talent and generational talent. Since 2000, there have been 12 players who were given the label of generational, from LeBron and Greg Oden to Zion and Wemby.
Let's see. Which one of these is generational? This unibrow is crazy. Anyway, though. Ayton is generational? That's hilarious. Simmons? You already know LeBron. Wemby. I feel like LeBron, Wemby. Zion is nice, though, I feel like. And AD, AD has generational defense. I'm going to keep it a buck. But Wiggins, that's tough. I ain't gonna lie. Oden, he got injured. Blake, he was hot. He was nice. Cade, he not generational. He's good though. He's elite. Ayton and Simmons. Oh my god, that is. Ayton, Simmons. That's hilarious. Dwight was nice.
Many of these names, similar to Cooper Flagg, their title as generational was accepted, but
Zion just keep getting injured. Zion is not bad. Zion is dead nice.
He did look like a once-in-a-generation big man coming out of college. Him getting selected over Kevin Durant is about all the evidence you need of that. Same with Zion Williamson in 2019, another incredibly hyped prospect with superstar potential who blew the doors off of college basketball for a season, but has been completely derailed thanks to injuries.
Injuries and gumbo.
Generational prospects in 2016.
The injuries and gumbo. That gumbo in New Orleans is what got Zion. I ain't gonna lie to you. I need to try gumbo though. I need to try that for sure. Come on, Zion. Zion is still good though. I don't care what nobody says. Zion is nice. Zion is nice. Ayton is generational.
Years, or about one projected generational talent every other year.
Flagg gonna be nice.
A gross overestimation, not just of talent, but how often this kind of talent comes around. Among the true generational talents and the ones who had the potential to be one are the players who were thrown into a conversation they should have never been in. Dwight Howard and Anthony Davis are both incredible Hall of Famers, but still not quite generational. Andrew Wiggins and Ben Simmons looked the part, but fell short by about a mile. Believe it or not, even players like DeAndre Ayton and Cade Cunningham managed to earn the generational label leading up to the time they were drafted. Of these 12 players, one of them truly lived up to the lofty label, and another one is currently proving he was worthy of the label. The general public predicted 12, and we got 2. No matter how many players we claim to be generational, turns out once in a generation truly means once in a generation.
No, for real.
And with Wemby clearly being the guy of this era, we
Flagg
might be due for another generational talent for quite some time. What are the odds Cooper lives up to the absolute upper end of the ceiling people have placed on him? Well, no one actually knows. If what a player did leading up to the time of them being drafted told us who they would become in the league, then Zion, Ben Simmons, and Andrew Wiggins would be the face of the NBA right now.
Facts.
The inverse of this is also true. If pre-draft projections were any indication of who a player would eventually become, Giannis, Jokic, and Kawhi would have been written off years ago. We may have an idea of what a player might become, but that's it.
Yeah, it's
An
so hard
idea.
to predict.
The truth is, some of these
So hard to
once
predict.
generational talents didn't fail to meet their
There's so much
potential.
goes into
it's
it.
likely that they were just never the once-in-a-generation talent some claimed them to be.
Yeah.
All things indicate that Cooper Flagg could be a truly transcendent player in the league.
You never
Of
know
course,
till he
that's if
plays, though.
indication meant
You
anything
never
at
know.
all.
He nice,
Only
though.
time
That's
will
how
tell what
Brian. That's how
Cooper's
Brian
true
cooking it, Brian.
potential is, and if he'll rise up and meet it.
Anyways, so that's the video for y'all. That's the video for y'all. How y'all think Cooper Flagg gonna turn out? Y'all think he gonna be generational, elite, good, bad, terrible, piss poor, Anthony Bennett, or I think he gonna be like GOAT James, or better? He gonna be Flagg. See you on the next one.